Hall, everything is at 12 o'clock. Starting to blend to 3 o'clock. Now the reverb time to 3 o'clock. Let's add the Let's try putting the feedback up to 12 o'clock. It was way over low. Let's try the pre-delay way over. Pre-delay at 2 o'clock. Just use a good reverb. Let's put everything back at 12 o'clock to finish. Well, you know, I remember several years ago when this pedal came out, the Electro Harmonix Cathedral pedal. I always wanted one. I never picked it up. Then one day they disappeared. I guess they're discontinued. I think I always was attracted by how cool it looked. And, of course, when you think of reverb, I think of cathedrals. So the idea of a cathedral is very attractive to me in terms of the sound that you can get in a cathedral. Was it Rick Wakeman who recorded that one prog rock album in a cathedral? I forget which one, but so I got this one used for about $150, and there weren't too many out there. eBay had more than like some of the other sites, but what do I think? Well, the first thing is I think I've become a little more savvy about pedals. This is a digital pedal, so I think I'm leaning more towards analog. Now, the Holy Grail and some of those, the Holy Grail's analog, right? I'm trying to learn more about that, but I did read that this is digital, and I do think it has a little bit of a digital sound. Now, I don't know, analog to me is just like water. You just turn the knobs and everything kind of, it's all kind of one big thing, and you're just kind of moving it around like a giant blob or something, and that's analog. Digital's all just little things put together to kind of create that illusion. So the older I get, the more I try to steer away from digital. I do think it's a good pedal. I think depending on what you're doing. The other thing I would say is it does a lot of things, and a lot of the things it did, I was having trouble. It did some crazy sounds, but they weren't really sound. I had trouble controlling it. When it went crazy like that, I couldn't even hear myself playing. I was moving my fingers, and there was just this kind of roar coming out of it. So I didn't think it was that attractive of a sound, quite frankly. I thought I got a good, when I just left it on Hall, I got a good reverb sound with this kind of about mid. That's reverb. Then this is reverb time. Now, I noticed when you push that reverb time way over, so the reverb, it's like if you're in a little tank, then the sound, how close the sound is to the wall, so to speak. So, like if you're playing like this, it's a close reverb, or if you're playing in a bigger room, the reverb is farther away. And when you turn this way over, that's one of the ways you can get that really uncontrollable sound. I did not find it very helpful. So I'm not even sure I would use that much. That Holy Grail I've been looking at has one knob, and something tells me it's a nice pedal. Something tells me that Holy Grail, that big box one that you can't get anymore, something tells me that's a really nice one. I haven't tried it yet. Damping tone is kind of like tone, but I'd rather just play with the tone. Feedback and pre-delay, again, I was having trouble making them work. I'm sure you can watch some sites where that Bill Rupert, for example, he always does amazing things. I would probably recommend just the simple Holy Grail over this pedal. And a lot of the kind of extra things it does that maybe the Holy Grail can't do are either not anything you'd use that much, and or maybe don't sound that good. Or maybe I didn't know how to do it. So those are some of your options. Either they're not really usable sounds. You get all these crazy sounds. They're kind of fun. It's almost like playing with a toy. But in this case, I didn't even think it was that fun because sometimes when you get those crazy sounds, like a deluxe memory man will make those crazy sounds, and it's kind of fun. You can kind of control them and play with them. Makes you feel kind of like you're in an electronic music class back in the 50s, at some music school. But it's possible I didn't know how to do it. Now, I was turning these knobs quite a bit, and I had trouble finding anything I would ever use, even in a kind of wild, crazy, trippy environment, horror movie soundtrack or something. So I do think it's a good pedal, but I think just sound-wise, I have a feeling that Holy Grail is better. I think the Boss RV6 might be better, too. I have that one. I'm going to do a review of that one in the near future. I don't use it that much because it's on a different board. I also have the Keeley Caverns, which is on another board. But this one, I'm not going to say it's a bad pedal. You might like it. It's not. It's discontinued, so I don't think I'm really discouraging anyone from buying it new. I don't think it's around anymore. But I would recommend the Holy Grail. I think that I've had that Holy Grail. I have it on a Holy Stain pedal, and it's also on that Epitome. And I think that it's a simpler pedal, but it's kind of got that analog where it's just all the sounds kind of just there, and you can kind of shape it, but it's all kind of, it's all kind of like a big blob. You just kind of shape it with those few knobs, which is my preference. Kind of like volume and dynamics, really, almost the type of that thing. So I do like this pedal, but I wouldn't recommend it over some of the other ones, actually, quite frankly. And I'd always kind of looked at it. I think the way it looks always kind of caught my eye. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend it over some of the other ones. I have a feeling if you just like that really rich reverb and probably some, pretty ambient extreme reverb too. Some of those Holy Grails, if you just like really, really lush reverb, it's like oceans of reverb. I have a feeling that Holy Grail's probably one of the best reverb pedals out there. And they have a bunch of different ones, and I'm not that familiar with them. I'm going to try to learn more about the Holy Grail. But I'd recommend the Holy Grail over this. It's a used pedal, so I don't imagine many of you are looking at it. But just in case you're interested in buying one, I'm not discouraging anyone, but I would recommend the Holy Grail, a simple, straightforward pedal. I think you get a better reverb. This one does more stuff, but a lot of the stuff it does, you either won't like or it's elusive. You're trying to find a sound. And I don't like elusive things where there's a lot of bad sounds and you're looking for those elusive good sounds. Or I don't like to have to look up a setting or something. So the Electro Harmonix Cathedral, I love Electro Harmonix, and it's cool that they have a lot of pedals. And you can try I want to try some of their other pedals. But I would recommend the Holy Grail over this one. This isn't necessarily bad. It's a little digital. I could hear it, and I'm not a tone snob, but I do like my analog, that warm, organic sound. And I'm not much for a lot of sometimes I think a lot of the knobs that you see on a digital pedal are trying to make up for what analog can do with just a few knobs. If you think about it. Thanks. God bless.